Hare Krishna devotees, Pranam. So, continue our discussion with our Srila Prabhupada's small books. So, today we start with new book, and we have already completed our 3 book. First one is On the Way to Krishna. Second one, Elevation to Krishna Consciousness. Third one, Krishna Consciousness, the Matchless Gift. And now, moving forward to the next book, Kṛṣṇa The Reservour of Pleasure. So today we will discuss with chapter number 1 of this book. Very small book and also small book, but very deep, because it's about pleasure. Actual, what is a pleasure? It is mentioned here. Pleasure we found in material world, it is like the carved hoof print. For some time after it, that pleasure it becomes cause of suffering. Likewise in the married life, people think they are be happy living together, enjoying their physical appearances, physical association. But after some time, the cause of enjoyment becomes cause of misery. So, what is actually the pleasure? We are going to know on this book. So, first we offer our Mangalacharan prayers, and after we read word by word. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtuse Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees who are hearing. And as our regular practice, I am asking mercy from all the devotees who are like a desire tree and who can fulfill the desire of everyone, and compassion for the fallen conditioned soul, all the Vaishnavas. So please throw your mercy, spread in form of love of Godhead, and especially upon me, I can repeat the word of Srila Prabhupada without personally motivated interpretations. So we are going to start with chapter number 1, Kṛṣṇa The Reservour of Pleasure. Very small book and 3 chapters contain. It is very deep for us to understand about Krishna. Okay, so let's start. Krishna. This sound is transcendental. Krishna means the highest pleasure. Each of us, every living being, seeks pleasure, but we do not know how to seek pleasure perfectly. With a materialistic concept of life, We are frustrated at every step in satisfying our desire for pleasure because we have no information regarding the real level on which we have real pleasure. To enjoy real pleasure, one must first understand that he is not the body but is consciousness. Not exactly consciousness, for consciousness is actually the symbol of our real identity. We are pure soul, now merged within this metal body. Modern material science lays no stress on this. Therefore, the scientists are sometimes misled in their understanding of spirit soul. But the spirit soul is a fact which anyone can understand by the presence of consciousness. Any child can understand that consciousness is the symptom of the spirit soul. Now, the whole process we are trying to learn from Bhagavad Gita, the song of God, is how to bring ourselves to the level of consciousness. And if we act from the level of consciousness, then we may not be pushed again onto this level of body conception. And if we can continue on that level, if we can continue to act in pure consciousness, then at the end of this body, we shall be free from material contamination, or our spiritual life will be revived. And the ultimate result will be that in our next life, after leaving this body, we shall have our full eternal spiritual life. Spirit or consciousness is eternal. Even after the destruction of this body, consciousness is not destroyed. Rather, consciousness is transferred to another type of body and again makes us aware of the material conception of life. That is also described in Bhagavad Gita at the time of death. That is also described in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. At the time of death, if our consciousness is pure, we can be sure that our next life will not be material. Our next life will be spiritual. If our consciousness is not pure at the point of death, then after leaving this body, we shall have to take another material body. That is the process which is going on. That's nature's law. We have a finer body. The body which we see is the gross body. It is just like shirt and coat. Within the coat there is shirt, and within the shirt there is body. Similarly, the pure soul is covered by the shirt and coat. The garments are the dress, senses, mind, intelligence, and false ego. False ego means the misconception that I am matter, that I am the product of this material world. This misconception makes me localized. For example, because I have taken my birth in India, I think myself Indian. Because I have taken my birth in America, I think myself American. But as a pure soul, I am neither Indian nor American. I am pure soul. These other are designations. American or Indian or German or Englishman, cat or dog, bee or bat, man or wife, all these designations. In spiritual consciousness, we become free from all such designations. That freedom is achieved when we are constantly in touch with Supreme Spirit, Kṛṣṇa. The International Society for Kṛṣṇa Consciousness is simply intended to keep us in constant touch with Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa can be in constant companionship. I repeat, Kṛṣṇa can be in constant companionship with us because He is omnipotent. Therefore, He can be fully in touch with us by His words. His words and He are not different. That is omnipotence. Omnipotence means that everything related to Him has the same potency. For example, there is here in this material world, if we are thirsty and we want water, simply repeating water, 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 we will not satisfy our thirst, because this word has not the same potency as water itself. We require the water in substance, then our thirst will be satisfied. But in the transcendental absolute world, there is no such difference. Kṛṣṇa's name, Kṛṣṇa's quality, Kṛṣṇa's word, Kṛṣṇa's pastime, everything is Kṛṣṇa and provide the same level of satisfaction or the same satisfaction. Some people argue in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was talking with Krishna because Krishna was present before him, whereas in my case, Krishna is not present. So, how can I get direction? But that is not fact. Krishna is present by his words. The Bhagavad Gita, in India, when we speak on Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, we regularly perform worship with flowers or with other paraphernalia required for worshipping. In a Sikh religion, although they have no form of the deity, they worship the book, Granth Sahib. Perhaps some of you are acquainted with the Sikh community. They worship this Grantha. Similarly, the Muslim worship the Quran. Similarly, in Christian world, the Bible is worshipped. It is the fact that the Lord Jesus Christ is present by his words. Krishna is also present by his words. Three personalities, either God or the Son of God, who came from the transcendental world, keep their transcendental identities without being contaminated by this material world, without being contaminated by this material world. That is their omnipotence. We are in the habit of saying that God is omnipotent. Omnipotence means that he is not different from his name, from his quality, from his pastime, from his instructions. Therefore, the discussion of Bhagavad Gita is as good as discussion with Krishna himself. Krishna is seated in your heart and in my heart too. Isha Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Raddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. God is situated in everyone's heart. God is not away from us. God is not away from us. He is present. He is so friendly that he remains with us in our repeated changes of birth. He is waiting to see when we shall turn to him. He is so kind that though we may forget him, he never forgets us. Although the son may forget his father, a father never forgets his son. Similarly, the original father of everything, everybody, all living entities will never forsake us. We may have different bodies, but they are our shirts and coat. They have nothing to do with our real identity. Our real identity is pure soul, and that pure soul is a part and parcel of Supreme Lord. There are 8,400,000 species of life, or 8.4 million species of life. Even the biologist and anthropologist cannot calculate this accurately. But from authoritative, revealed scriptures we get this information. Human being presents 4 lakh species, and there are 8 lakhs other species, but 80 lakhs other species. But Krishna, the Supreme Lord, claims that all of them, whether beast, man, snake, God, semi-God, demigod, anything, whatever, all of them, in reality, his sons. The father gives the seed, and the mother receives the seed. The body is then formed according to the mother's body, and when body is completely formed, it comes out either from cat, from dog, from man. That is the process of generation. The father gives the seed, and it is emulsified with 2 kinds of secretion in the womb of the mother. And on the first night, the body is formed just like a pea. Then gradually it develops. There are 9 holes that develops: 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostril, mouth, navel, genital, and anus. According to his past karma or actions, one gets this body to enjoy or to suffer. That is the process of birth and death. And after finishing this life, again one dies, and again one enters into the womb of some mother. Another type of body then comes out. This is the process of reincarnation. We should be intelligent and ask how we can discontinue this process of repeated birth and death and change of body. That is the prerogative of the human form of life. We can stop this process of repeated birth. or repeated change through the birth and death. We can get our actual spiritual form again and be peaceful with full knowledge and eternal life. That is the purpose of evolution. We should not miss this opportunity. This entire process of liberation begins with chanting and hearing. The chanting of the holy name of God, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and hearing the truth of the Bhagavad Gita are as good as the bodily association with Krishna. That is stated in Gita. This process is called Kirtana. Even if one does not understand the language, still just by hearing, he acquires some piti. His assets lead him to a pious life. Even he doesn't understand, it has such a power. There are two kinds of topics concerning Krishna. One is the Bhagavad Gita. It is spoken by Krishna. Another is the kind of topic concerning Krishna is Srimad Bhagavatam. That is spoken about Krishna. So there are two types of Krishna Katha. That is topic concerning Krishna. And they are equally potent because they are connected with Krishna. Because the Bhagavad Gita is spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, some people have asked what we have to do with battlefield. We have nothing to do with any battlefield. We are after knowledge of spiritual fear. Then why should we bother about this battlefield? Because Krishna is on the battlefield, and therefore the whole battlefield has become Krishnaized. Just as when electric current is passed into some metal, the whole metal becomes surcharged with electricity. So too, when Krishna is interested in some matter, that matter becomes Krishnaized. Otherwise, there should be no need of discussing the battlefield of Kurukshetra. That is his omnipotence. This omnipotence is also described in Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many Krishna Kathas. The Vedic literature is full of them. Vedas means that they are Krishna Katha. Scriptures, including the Vedas, may appear to be the different, but they are all meant for Krishna Katha. If we simply hear these topics on Krishna, then what will be the result? It is pure transcendental vibration, and the result will be spiritual consciousness. We have accumulated many inauspicious things within our hearts due to our material contamination during the course of many births. Not only this birth, but many past births as well. So when we surcharge our heart with Krishna Katha, then the contamination we have accumulated will be washed off. Our hearts will be cleansed of all rubbish. And as soon as all the rubbish is cleansed off, we are situated in pure consciousness. It is very difficult to eradicate all the false designations from oneself. For example, I am Indian. It is not very easy to immediately think that I am not Indian, but I am pure soul. Similarly, it is not very easy task for anyone to end this identification with his bodily designations. But still, if we continue hearing Krishna Katha, it will be very easy. Make an experiment. Make an experiment to see how easily you will be able to free yourself from all those designations. Of course, it is not possible to clear out the rubbish form from the mind all of a sudden, but we are immediately aware of that influence of material nature has become slacken. The material nature is working in three modes: goodness, passion and ignorance. Ignorance is hopeless life. Passion is materialistic. One who is influenced by the mode of passion wants this false enjoyment of material existence because he doesn't know the truth. He wants to squeeze out the energy of the body just to enjoy matter. That is called the mode of passion. As for those in the mode of ignorance, they have neither passion nor goodness. They are in the deepest darkness of life, situated in the mode of goodness. We can understand at least theoretically what I am, what this material world is, what this world is, what God is, what our relationship is. This is the mode of goodness. By hearing Krishna Katha, we will be freed from the stages of ignorance and passion. We will be situated in the mode of goodness. At least we will have the real knowledge of what we are. Ignorance is like animal's existence. The animal's life is full of suffering. but the animal does not know that that he is suffering. Take the case of the hog. Of course, in the cities like New York, no hog is seen, but in villages in India, one sees the hog. Oh, how miserable his life is! Living in filthy place, eating stool and always unclean. Yet the hog is very happy by eating stool and having constant sexual intercourse with she-dog, she-hog, and just getting fat. The hog gets very fat because of spirit of enjoyment which is there, although for him it is sensual enjoyment. We should not be like hog, falsely thinking that we are happy. We are very happy. Working hard all day and night. I repeat, we should not be like hog, falsely thinking that we are very happy. Working hard all day and night, then having some sex life. We think that in this way we are very happy, but it is not happiness. But this is not happiness. This has been described in Bhagavatam as hog's happiness. Man's happiness is when he is situated in the mode of goodness. Then he can understand what true happiness is. In our daily routine, if we hear Kṛṣṇa Katha, result will be that all dirty things in the heart accumulated life after life will be cleared off. As a matter of fact, we will see that we are no longer in ignorance or in passion, but are situated in the mode of goodness. What is that position? We will find ourselves joyful in every circumstances of life. We will find joyful in every circumstances of life. We will never feel morose. We will never feel morose. In the Bhagavad Gita, we find that this is our Brahma Bhuta situation, or the highest stage of goodness. The Veda teach us that we are not this matter. We are Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. Lord Shankaracharya preached this gospel to the world. We are not this matter. We are a Brahman, spirit. When spiritual realization is actually accomplished, then our symptoms will change. What are those symptoms? When one is situated in own spiritual consciousness, then he will have no hankering and no lamentation. Lamentation is for loss and hankering is for gain. Two diseases characterize this material world. What we do not possess, we hanker after. If I get these things, I will be happy. I have no money, but if I get this $1 million, then I will be happy. And if we have $1 million and somehow it is lost, we cry, oh, I have lost it. When we hanker for earning, that is the kind of distress. And when we suffer loss, that is also distress. But if we are situated in Brahma Bhuta, we will neither be distressed nor hanker. We will view everyone and everything equally. Even if we are situated in the midst of fiery tribulation, we will not be disturbed. That is the Brahma Bhuta status. It is in that Brahma Bhuta status that we have to work. So long as we have this metal body, we have to work. We cannot stop working. It is not possible. But we have to adopt this tactic of yoga, and in this way, even by doing some ordinary work, which is destiny or circumstances we are put into, there is no harm. Suppose that in one's occupation one must speak a lie in his business. Can't go on. I repeat, suppose that in one's occupation one must speak a lie, or his business can't go on. Lying is not very good thing. So one conclude that the business is not based on moral principles. One should therefore give it up. So one conclude that the business is not based on very moral principles, and one should therefore give it up. In the Bhagavad Gita, however, we find instructions not to give it up. Even if we are put into the circumstances that our livelihood cannot go on without some unfair practice, we should not give it up, but we should try to make it pure. How is it purified? We should not take the fruitive result of our work that is meant for God. On the material level, we can be pious or impious. Either we are performing some pious activities, or we are performing some impious activities, or we have a mixture, pious or impious. Lord Krishna advises that we should act on spiritual plane with knowledge of and devotion to the Supreme. What does that knowledge mean? It means that I know I am a part and parcel of Supreme Consciousness, or that I am not this body. If I identify myself as an American, as an Indian, or this or that, then I am on the material plane. We should identify ourselves as neither as American nor Indian, but as a pure consciousness. I am subordinated consciousness of the Supreme Consciousness. In other words, I am the servant of God. God is the Supreme Consciousness, and I am His servant. For our presence, understanding, subordinate means servant. We do not ordinarily carry out the work for a servant in relationship to God. Nobody wants to be servant, but everyone wants to be a master, be the master. Because to become servant is not very palatable thing. But to become servant of God is not exactly like this. Sometimes the servant of God becomes the master of God. The real position of living entity is to be the servant of God. But in the Bhagavad Gita, we can see that the master, Krishna, becomes the servant of Arjuna. Arjuna is sitting in the chariot and Krishna is his driver, his servant. But in the spiritual relationship, we should not cling to a concept of cling to the concept of material relationship. Although the whole relationship, just as we have experience of it in this world, is there is the spiritual world, the relationship is not contaminated by matter. Therefore, it is pure and transcendental. It is of a different nature. As we become advanced in spiritual conception of life, we can understand what the actual position in the spiritual transcendental world is. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord instructs us to be Buddhi Yukta. Buddhi Yukta means that we act in full understanding that we are not this body, but we are consciousness. That is a fact. And if we act on the level of consciousness, then we can overcome the fruitive result of good work or bad work. It is transcendental stage. It means that we are acting on another's account, on supreme account. We are not liable to loss or gain. When there is a gain, we should not puff up. We should not think this gain is for the Lord. We should think this gain is for the Lord. And when there is loss, we should know that it is not our responsibility. It is God's work, His. Then we will be happy. This we have to practice. Everything on account of the Supreme. Everything on the account of Supreme. This transcendental nature we have to develop. This is the trick of doing work under the present circumstances. As soon as we work on the level of bodily consciousness, we become bound by the reactions of our work. But when we work in spiritual consciousness, we are not bound either by pious activities or by vicious activities. That is the technique. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that one who is Buddhi Yukta is Manishinaha. This word is very significant. Manishi means thoughtful. Unless one is thoughtful, he cannot understand that he is not this body. But if one is little thoughtful, he can understand, oh, I am not this body, I am consciousness. Sometime in our leisure time, we can see, oh, this is my finger, or this is my hand, this is my ear, and this is my nose. Everything is mine, but what I am, what am I? What am I? I am feeling this is mine, and that I am simply a little thought is required. Everything is my eye, my finger, my hand, my, and what is I? And the I is consciousness, which is thinking, that this is mine. Now, if I am not this body, then why should I act for this body? I should act for myself. Then how can I work for myself? What is my position? I am consciousness, but what kind of consciousness? Subordinate consciousness. I am a part of Supreme Consciousness. Then what will be my activities? Or what will my activities be? My activities will be under the guidance of the Supreme Consciousness. Just as in the office, the managing director is the Supreme Consciousness. For example, in the office everyone is working under the direction of the manager. Therefore, the workers have no responsibility. They have only to discharge their duty, either pious or impious duty, never mind. In the military line, too, the order of the captain or the commander is there. The soldier has to execute it. He doesn't consider whether it is pious or impious. That doesn't matter. He simply has to act. Then he is the real soldier. He acts in that way and he gets his reward. He gets little honor. He gets title and honor. He doesn't care. The commander says just go and kill the enemy. And if soldier does it, he is rewarded. Do you think that by killing one gets the reward? No, it is for duty discharge. Similarly, in the Bhagavad Gita, the situation is that Kṛṣṇa is instructing Arjuna to kill the enemy as a matter of duty. Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Consciousness, and Arjuna only has to discharge his duty according to the order of the Supreme Consciousness. Similarly, I am consciousness, a part and parcel of the Supreme Consciousness. So my duty is to act according to the will of that Supreme Consciousness. For example, my hand is the part of my body and is moving according to my consciousness. It is not moving in its own way. As I want, my hands move, my legs move, my eyes open and see. So, I am dictating and these parts are working. Similarly, we are all parts and parcels of Supreme. When we train ourselves to move and act in accordance with the Supreme Consciousness, then we become transcendental to all these pious and impious activities. That is the technique. What will the result of the technique be? We will become free from the bondage of birth and death. No more birth and death. Modern scientists and philosophers do not think about those four things: birth, death, disease, and all this. They set them aside. Oh, let us feel happy. Let us enjoy this life. But human life is meant for finding the solution to this bondage of birth, death, old age, and disease. If any civilization has not found a solution to those four problems, then that is not human civilization. Human civilization is meant for finding a complete solution to these things. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Karmajam buddhi yukta hai. Karmajam means whenever there is action, there will be some reaction. If one acts in badness, there will be a bad reaction. But reaction, either good or bad, in the higher sense, all suffering. Suppose that good action, I get good birth, fine bodily feature, good education, all these good things I may have, but that doesn't mean I am free from material planes. The material planes are birth, death, old age, and disease. Even if I am a rich man, a beautiful man, an educated man, born in the aristocratic family, etc., I still cannot avoid old age, death, and disease. So, we must not be concerned with pious activities or impious activities. We must be concerned with transcendental activities only. That will save us from this bondage of birth, death, old age, and disease. That should be our aim in life. We should not be hankering after good or bad things. For example, suppose one is suffering from some disease. He is lying in bed, eating, answering nature's call uncomfortably, and taking bitter medicine. He always has to be kept clean by nurses. Otherwise, there is an obnoxious smell. While he was lying in this condition, some friends comes to him and ask how he is feeling. Yes, I am feeling well. What is this well? Lying in the bed uncomfortably, taking bitter medicine and unable to move. Yet despite of all these inconveniences, he says I am well. Similarly, in our material conception of life, if we think I am happy, that is foolishness. Since, I repeat, very, very strong statement. In our material conception of life, if we think that I am happy, that is foolishness. There is no happiness in this material world. It is impossible to have happiness here. In this condition, we do not know the meaning of happiness. That's why this word is used, Manisha, thoughtful. This word is used, Manisha, thoughtful. We seek happiness by some extraneous artificial means. But how long does it last? It will not endure. We again come back to sorrow. Suppose by intoxication we feel happy. That is not our actual happiness. Suppose I am made unconscious by chloroform and I don't feel the pain of the operation. That doesn't mean I am not having an operation. This is artificial. Real pleasure, real life exists. As it is commanded in the Bhagavad Gita by Lord Kṛṣṇa, the thoughtful give up the reaction of work, being situated on the level of pure consciousness. The result is that this bondage of birth and death, disease and old age comes to an end. This end is in union with the true identity, Kṛṣṇa, the reservoir of pleasure and eternal bliss. There indeed is the true happiness for which we are intended. So with that we have completed our chapter number 1 of this small book of Srila Prabhupada, Kṛṣṇa The Reservour of Pleasure. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, your servant Brijesh Tanaya Das.